Imagine this. Two infants, identical twins, are born. Very soon after, their paths diverge. They are adopted by different families. They grow up in different towns, unaware of each other's existence. This isn't just a thought experiment. This is where our story begins, a story that challenges our understanding of who we are. It's a narrative filled with such improbable connections that it almost feels like fiction. These types of separations happen, of course, but what followed for these two boys was something quite out of the ordinary, something that would make researchers and ordinary people alike pause and wonder about the invisible threads that might connect us and the blueprints hidden within our very cells. The twins in question were born in Piqua, Ohio. This was in 1940. Within weeks, they were separated. One boy was adopted by the Lewis family from Lima, Ohio, the other by the Springer family residing in Dayton. These families lived just about 45 miles apart, yet for the boys, it was a world of difference. They had no knowledge of their identical twin. They each grew up as the only child in their respective adoptive homes. Their childhoods unfolded in parallel, yet distinctly separate. They were living proof of a natural experiment, one that sought to untangle the complex web of nature versus nurture, though no one had intentionally set it up that way. Here is the first whisper of the uncanny, the first sign that something truly remarkable was underway. Both adoptive families, without consulting each other, without any shared information, decided to name their new son James. So we have James Springer, and we have James Lewis. Two boys, separated by circumstance, yet united by a name. This alone is a striking coincidence. Think about the sheer number of names available. Think about the personal preferences that go into such a decision. Yet, both sets of parents landed on James. It was as if an echo had sounded, unheard, across the miles separating them. Their early lives, from this point, started to build upon this foundation of shared identity, even though they were completely unaware. Each, James, or Jim as they would come to be known, navigated childhood. They went to different schools. They made different friends. They had different experiences shaped by their unique environments and the families who raised them, or so one would think. But the story of the Jim twins suggests that something deeper, something intrinsic, was already charting a course, laying down tracks for a future that would be astonishingly similar. The stage was set for a series of coincidences that would defy easy explanation. As the two Jims grew from boys into young men, the pattern of eerie similarities did not fade. Instead, it intensified. It wasn't just their shared first name anymore. Their life choices, decisions made independently, began to mirror each other with startling precision. It was as if they were reading from the same unwritten script, making choices that lined up in ways that seemed to defy probability. Consider their romantic lives, an area so deeply personal, so influenced by individual preference and chance encounters. Yet even here the echoes were undeniable. The parallels started to become truly significant, moving beyond simple naming coincidences. Both James Lewis and James Springer found love, and both remarkably married women named Linda. Two Jims, each finding a Linda. This is where the story often makes people lean in closer. It's one thing to share a name given by parents. It's another entirely to choose partners with the same name. These were not arranged marriages. These were choices made out of personal affection and connection, yet the outcome was the same. The coincidence is striking. It makes you wonder about the subtle cues, the unconscious preferences that might have drawn each Jim to a Linda. It's a layer of similarity that adds significant weight to their unfolding story. But the parallels in their marital lives didn't end there. Life, as it often does, brought changes. Both Jims eventually divorced their first wives, the Lindas. And then, in another astonishing turn, both men remarried. And who did they choose as their second wives? Both Jims married women named Betty. The pattern was not just repeating, it was becoming more intricate, more unbelievable. First Linda, then Betty, for both men. It's a sequence that strains the boundaries of what we consider mere chance. Each decision, made in isolation, contributed to this growing list of identical life events. It's as if their lives were running on parallel tracks, hitting the same milestones with the same names attached, and the similarities extended beyond human relationships. Consider their pets. Many children have dogs. It's a common part of growing up. Both Jim Lewis and Jim Springer had a dog during their childhood. That in itself is not surprising. But what strains credulity is this: both Jims had named their childhood dog Toy. Think about that for a moment. Not Spot or Rover or Buddy, Toy. It's such a specific, less common name for a dog. This detail, seemingly small, adds another layer to the intricate web of coincidences. It suggests that perhaps even these minor, seemingly trivial choices were somehow aligned between these two separated individuals. The tapestry of shared experiences continued to weave itself throughout their adult lives, extending into careers, habits, and even the names they chose for their children. It was almost as if an invisible force was ensuring their lives, though lived apart, would contain an extraordinary number of identical elements. The list just kept growing, pushing the boundaries of what anyone might consider a mere coincidence. Each new discovery added another piece to this incredible human puzzle. These weren't just broad similarities. Many were strikingly specific, making the phenomenon even more perplexing and fascinating to consider. One of the most profound similarities involved their children. Both Jim Lewis and James Springer had sons, and incredibly, both fathers chose to name their sons James Allen. One Jim spelled it James Allen, the other James Allen. A very slight variation in spelling, but the core name James Allen was identical. Imagine the odds. Two fathers living separate lives, independently deciding on the same first and middle name for their sons. This particular parallel often leaves people speechless. It speaks to something deep, something perhaps fundamental about their shared makeup that influenced such a significant and personal decision. Beyond these major life events, their preferences and habits also showed remarkable alignment. Both Jims enjoyed woodworking as a hobby. They found satisfaction in creating things with their hands. Professionally, both men had worked part-time as sheriff's deputies in their respective counties. This shared interest in law enforcement, even in a part-time capacity, is another curious link. They also drove the same model and colour of car, a light blue Chevrolet. They even suffered from tension headaches, had hemorrhoids, and had gained a similar amount of weight at the same point in their lives. These details paint a picture of two lives marching uncannily in step. Even their vices were similar. Both Jim twins smoked Salem cigarettes. Not just any brand, but specifically Salem. Think of the marketing, the personal taste, the sheer number of cigarette brands available. Yet they converged on this one choice. And when it came to vacations, both Jims independently chose to vacation at the same stretch of beach in St. Pete Beach, Florida. They liked the same spot, out of all the vacation destinations in the world. These weren't just big life milestones aligning. These were the small, everyday choices, the personal preferences that were also inexplicably the same. The climax of this extraordinary story arrived when the Jim twins were 29 years old. After nearly 3 decades of living separate yet strikingly similar lives, they were finally reunited in 1979. Jim Lewis had initiated the search, contacting the probate court that handled his adoption. The court then reached out to the Springer family. Imagine that first phone call, the hesitation, the disbelief, then the first meeting. Seeing for the first time a perfect mirror image, not just in appearance, but in the echoes of a life lived strangely in parallel. The reunion was more than just an emotional moment, it was a revelation. As they began to share their life stories, the full, staggering extent of their similarities came to light. One by one, the pieces of the puzzle fell into place. The shared names of their wives, Linda and then Betty. The sons named James Allen. The childhood dogs named Toy. The Salem cigarettes, the light blue Chevrolets, the woodworking hobby, the part-time sheriff jobs. Each shared detail added to the sense of wonder and profound mystery. It was an almost overwhelming cascade of coincidences, far beyond what anyone could have reasonably predicted. What does the unbelievable story of the Jim twins tell us? It forces us to confront long-held questions about what makes us who we are. How much of our personality, our preferences, our life choices is written in our genes, and how much is shaped by the environment we grow up in, the experiences we have, the people we meet. The Jim twins, raised in different environments yet exhibiting such profound similarities, provide compelling, almost anecdotal evidence for the powerful influence of genetics. Their story became a cornerstone for researchers studying heredity and the nature versus nurture debate. Their lives, lived apart yet so alike, don't provide all the answers, of course. The interplay between genetics and environment is incredibly complex, a delicate dance that scientists are still working to understand fully. But the Jim twins offer a vivid human illustration of this mystery. Their story isn't just a collection of odd coincidences, it's a profound human drama that invites curiosity and wonder. It reminds us that there are still so many things we don't understand about ourselves. The tale of James Arthur Springer and James Edward Lewis continues to fascinate, a testament to the enduring power of our biological blueprint.